Hey guys, this is Marina and you're watching another Q&A episode where you ask me your questions and I record a video with an answer specifically for you. And today actually I'm talking about a very interesting topic about the Quincunx aspect and the Yoke configuration. Often I'm asked about this type of aspects and configurations because they're very rare. There is not a lot of information and sometimes you can get confused. So the Quincunx aspect is basically 150 degrees. It means that you need to have one planet in one sign. For example, let's say that we are talking about Aries. If you have the sun in Aries, then in order to have a Quincunx aspect, you need to have a planet in Virgo or Scorpio. Let's say that this is the moon. And the orbis, guys, is very small here. The orbis is only 2 degrees, which means that in order to have this aspect, basically the distance needs to be between 148 and 152 degrees, which means that this is actually a very rare aspect. And let's try to analyze what we have in this combination, Aries and Virgo. So Aries is a fire and cardinal sign. On the other hand, Virgo is a mutable and earth sign. So earth and mutable sign. You can see that these signs are totally different. They are different in their element and they're different according to their modality. The other example with the Scorpio. Scorpio is a water and fixed sign. Again, it's the complete different of Aries. And if you try to make the same thing with the other possible combinations, you will find out that when you have a Quincunx aspect, basically both of the planets, these elements actually in which they fall, are completely different according to their element and their modality. And this is something very specific. In all of the other possible aspects, actually you have something in common between the elements, between actually the signs. For example, if we are talking about the square, which is considered to be a challenging aspect, then you have at least a common modality of the signs. For example, if you're talking about Aries and Capricorn, yes, they make square, it's a challenging aspect, but at least the modality is the same. They're both cardinal signs. So the important part here is that we have signs which are completely different. And try to make the same with another combination. For example, let's take Taurus. If we're talking about Taurus, something here, let's say the sun, then the Quincunx will be here in Libra and Sagittarius. Again, Taurus is an earth fixed sign and Libra is a cardinal air sign, Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign. Try to make the same with all of the other possible combinations. You're going to find out the same. And what it means is actually that these planets need more time in order to learn to communicate with each other. The energy is totally different. That's why it can bring some kind of, at first, it can bring some kind of frustration. And it's difficult to combine those type of energies. The other thing which is important for the Quincunx is that actually it consists of 90 plus 60 degrees. So the 90 degree is the very famous square aspect and this, the 60 degree is the famous sextile. And here you can find out actually that there is again a mixture of different energies. The square aspect is difficult, the sextile is a positive aspect. So the most important for this Quincunx aspect is actually that first it has the influence of the square. So it is related with some kind of challenges, some kind of difficulties that you need to overcome, something which doesn't work very well between these two planets. And after you work on this topic, after you put some effort, after you overcome certain, challenges, then comes the influence of the sextile, which is very harmonious, which is very positive, related with, things which happen in an easier way. So probably this is the most important that you need to remember about the Quincunx. The energy is very different, and it's difficult actually to find a compromise and to, to focus on the same planets at this, on two of the planets at the same time. And the other thing is that first there is some kind of challenge for you, something that you need to overcome, and then you can benefit from this. Then comes the influence of the sextile. The other important thing is that look what is the difference between these positions. Look here. So here and here. Basically, this aspect takes almost the whole horoscope. This is one of the longest possible aspects. Maybe the only longer is the opposition, which is 180 degrees. But 150 degrees also takes a very big part of the horoscope. And the longer the aspect is, which we are analyzing, the stronger is the longer is the influence. And that's why situations which are, influenced by the Quincunx, they're very long lasting. This is like a, like a life theme in your life, which is, constant. For example, the square is a 90 degree, and you can see it takes a small part of the horoscope. That's why we say that, it has a shorter influence. Yes, sometimes it is, triggered by another transit or progression, and it hits you and you have to fight, but then comes a period of rest. With the Quincunx, the situation is different because this is a much longer aspect. So the situations last longer, and they're more like a life themes for you. Okay, and now let's find out actually what is the Yoke configuration. Of course, these topics are related, and that's why actually they are included in the same video. So the Yoke configuration basically consists of 2 Quincunxes and 1 sextile. So let me choose the same example. We have the Sun in Aries, we have the Moon in Virgo, and another planet in Scorpio. Let's say that this is Mars. So we have here the 2 Quincunxes, Mars and the Sun and the Moon. And here we have the sextile between Mars and the Moon. Again, the orbis here is only 2 degrees for the Quincunxes. For the sextile, we can take 5 degrees. And this is a very rare aspect configuration. The main focus of the attention is the planet which has the 2 Quincunxes. This position also is called apex. And this is, if you have this configuration, which by the way is also called a finger of God, then this planet in the apex is probably the most important planet in your horoscope. Yes, there might be some kind of challenges that you need to overcome in the area which this planet indicates and signifies in the horoscope. Yes, there might be some difficulties, but after that you can benefit from this. And you're forced in a way, you're forced by the fate to focus on this topic. And if you're trying to neglect it, then the circumstances will force you. And don't forget that after you overcome the challenges of the square, you're going to benefit from the sextile. And here, this positive connection between these 2 planets, the sextile, is also really supportive. So, it helps you, and this is some kind of talent that you may have, and you need to use it in the area of the 3rd planet, which is in the apex. And there are many kinds of combinations here, so we can talk specifically about each of the possible combinations, but you have to remember that the sextile gives you the easy part. So this is the talent that you have. You have to use this potential, and you have to use it in the area of the planet which is in the apex. Of course, you need to analyze the planet itself, the Sun or Venus or, you know, Saturn here. You know, they all have some kind of specific meaning. Also, you need to analyze the position, the house position of this planet. It matters, for example, if this planet is in 1st house or it will be in your 5th house. And also, you have to keep in mind which house is ruled by this planet, because it will show you which life areas will be extremely important and where you need to focus your attention. And don't try to neglect this configuration. You know, even though it's difficult to learn to handle with this, after you put the needed efforts, you're going to benefit, because, you know, there is a reason why people call it a finger of God. You really need to focus on this topic. So that's the most important, guys, for the Quincunx and the Yoke configuration. By the way, if you have it in your horoscope, I will be glad if you share your experience and your opinion about the aspect and the Yoke configuration. Honestly, I don't have these aspects in my horoscope, but it will be interesting actually to hear from you. And don't forget about our Q&A episodes. You can send me your questions, as long as they're not personal. I mean, if we're talking about aspect or, you know, a certain configuration or what can show certain, you know, life circumstances, then you're welcome to send me these questions. So that's the most important for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon.